You ever look at the news and wonder if there's some kind of hidden logic to all the chaos? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a theory that's over 100 years old. And believe me, once you see it, it might just change the way you look at the entire world map. It's like the key to understanding the grand chessboard of geopolitics.
Yeah, that feeling of being just a pawn in some massive game you don't understand. If you've ever felt that way, watching countries make these moves that just seem totally random or disconnected, you are not alone. But what if I told you there's a framework, an old one, that might actually connect all the dots in this huge global game?
Okay, so what is this master key? Well, we gotta go back to 1904. A British geographer, Halford Mackinder, is staring at a world map, and he sees something that pretty much everyone else had missed. He sees this huge, resource-packed area right in the middle of Eurasia, and he calls it the Heartland.
And he came up with this really famous, kind of chilling idea. He basically said that this giant pivot area, think Russia and Central Asia, was the ultimate prize on the world stage. Why? Well, it was stuffed with resources, for one. But the real kicker? It was a natural fortress, totally protected from the big sea powers of the day, like his own British Empire.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. A theory from 1904? Seriously? This sounds like something out of a dusty old textbook. And you know what? For a very long time, you'd have been right. A lot of very smart people would have completely agreed with you.
I mean, the critics had a field day with this, right? They were quick to point out all the stuff Mackinder just couldn't have seen coming. You've got air power that can just fly right over the Heartland's defenses. You've got nuclear missiles that can cross the globe in minutes, making geography seem kind of pointless. And you know the biggest knock against it? The Soviet Union had total control of this exact territory, and they still collapsed. So yeah, the theory looked pretty broken.
So for decades, that was pretty much it. The Heartland theory was tossed onto the ash heap of history. It was seen as this fascinating but totally obsolete idea, a relic that had absolutely no way of explaining our complex, high-tech, modern world.
But here's where it gets interesting. Here's the twist. What if everyone who dismissed it was wrong? What if the common understanding of the theory was completely missing the point? What if we've been looking at this whole thing backwards?
See, here's the crucial detail everyone forgets. Mackinder was British. He was writing from the perspective of a global sea power. And for him, the ultimate nightmare wasn't just a powerful Russia controlling all that land. No, his real fear was something much, much bigger.
The true terror, the thing that kept him up at night, was a fusion. Imagine combining the industrial might and technology of a power like Germany with the endless resources and manpower of the Russian heartland. That combination, that was the threat. A superpower like that could build a fleet big enough to challenge the Anglo-American control of the seas, and that would change everything.
And that fear, right there, became the unspoken rule, the received wisdom of Anglo-American foreign policy for the next 100 years. Suddenly, you see the real great game being played. It wasn't just about Russia. It was about doing whatever it takes to keep Germany and Russia apart, to prevent that Eurasian land-based titan from ever being born.
So, if your goal is to stop this Heartland superpower, how do you do it? Well, the playbook for that came from an American strategist named Nicholas Spikeman, and his big idea was brilliant in its simplicity. He said, look, if you can't control the Heartland, you have to control everything around it. He called this the Rimland, basically the entire coastal edge of Eurasia.
And all of a sudden, the world map just clicks into place. It stops looking like a random collection of countries and starts looking like a giant tug of war. On one rope, you have the sea powers, the US, the UK, Japan, the Rimland, pulling to contain. And on the other rope, you have the land powers, Russia, China, Germany, the Heartland, pulling to break out and expand. And when you look at history through this lens, so many conflicts that seemed separate suddenly connect. The fear of that German-Russian alliance feeding into World War I, the entire Cold War doctrine of containment, even wars in places like Vietnam and Afghanistan. You can see them all as battles in this bigger game, the fight to control the Rimland and keep the Heartland penned in.
But here's the thing. This isn't just history class. This exact same game is playing out right now, as we speak. The faces of the players might have changed a bit, but the fundamental game, it's exactly the same.
Just look at China's Belt and Road Initiative. It's a textbook Heartland strategy. They're building these massive modern-day Silk Roads, land-based trade routes designed to bypass the sea lanes controlled by their rivals. And at the exact same time, what do we see? We see Russia, China, and Iran getting closer, forming a kind of Heartland bloc, all of them trying to break through that Rimland containment.
Which brings us to a really big, kind of troubling final question. For more than a century, the #1 rule for the world's sea powers was keep the big heartland players divided. Keep Russia, China, and Germany from ever teaming up. So, what happens now? What does it mean for all of us that the very policies designed to contain them seem to be pushing them closer together than ever before?